Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021 and episode 28 of Beyond Local. With me today is the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Blackburn. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Hey Jeff, how's it going, brother? Couldn't be more happy to be on here with you. I feel like all the time I've spent with you and in the business and just knowing you as long as I have, I think this is the first one we're doing together, right?
Absolutely. That's right. And unfortunately, we have to be apart for it. I'd like to be in the same room, but you know, with everything that's going on and the holidays just passing, we had to get together. We just had to do it separately.
Well, don't worry. I mean, the camera's got your good side. I don't really have a good side, so it didn't matter if we were together or apart. You get this mug. And besides, now I got to use Zoom, and I've got the cool background in the back here. Let me move around for the audience. We've got the LSEO background back there, so having a good time with it.
Yeah, this is awesome. You know, and I actually got, I don't know if you got anything good for Christmas, but I got this new HD camera that makes this whole experience a whole lot better.
Well, I got a lot of good stuff for Christmas, but the nice thing is actually not getting everything you want, I think, is as funny as that sounds, because then we get to look forward to next Christmas. And I did get, there was one piece that I normally do for New Year's Eve. I typically spend four days at Madison Square Garden every year seeing a rock and roll band, but I couldn't do that this year, so I was bumming. But like the Terminator, I'll be back. So we'll make that happen next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
I'm just going to work harder than Jeff Kimmel, because that's one that I can measure, right? I can look across from my office to yours and be like, is he still here? No, you know what, man? So I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, because I think it's a bit of a cop-out, where I think that it doesn't matter if you have something that pops up in April and you say to yourself, well, hey, I want to do better. Well, why wait till December or January to put it on the plate? So I'm one of those that I think New Year's resolutions are a good thing, but at the same time, I also think they set you up for failure, because I think that as soon as you identify a problem, you should take care of it, instead of trying to pick a resolution. Like, if you want to lose weight, or you want to learn a new language, or you want to learn to play golf, well, just go out and damn do it. Don't wait because it's January 1st to do it. But how about you? How about you?
I'm more of a why do it today when you can put it off till tomorrow kind of guy. No.
All right.
No, I mean, I sometimes try and make New Year's resolutions just to remotivate myself, but You're right. I mean, you're exactly right. I'm sitting here like, man, this year I'm going to do this. Why not do it right now? Well, I'm having too much fun, not, putting on weight instead of losing weight, not exercising, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, I don't have anything specific in mind, but I'm going to try and think through some things and see if I can make myself better in 2021, because it's all about getting better.
Right. So what do you want to talk about today, though?
Well, interestingly enough, a couple of good segues there. We talked about Christmas. We talked about our history and, working in the industry, in the internet industry, as we'll call it. But I mean, and especially this year, all of my shopping, maybe, all of yours, but a lot of people I know, it was all done online, right? I mean, went everywhere, not just to Amazon. We went, looking for little different gifts that you can't just go out to the store and buy now today. So everybody's using e-commerce. And, in a previous world, a previous life for you and I, we worked right in, support for e-commerce companies, So this year in 2021, I know we have a very strong effort towards, helping e-commerce companies out. So I want to talk a little bit about e-commerce as we kick off this new year, and, some of the platforms that we could be using.
Oh, great.
What do you think?
Great. Well, I mean, that's something that's, I think, right up my alley, as you said. I mean, you and I got started off, for those that don't know, basically internet service providers, domain registrars, hosting companies, moved into marketing. Here we are, helping with the LSEO brand now. So you and I have kind of done it all. And I feel like that we've kind of touched it all. So all the way from its infancy to from 56K. And it's funny, half of it is staff. If you look out your door, if anybody's there, I mean, just the noise that a 56K modem turned on. If I played that right now, they'd be like, who's plugging in a fax machine? Like they don't even know, that noise.
Right.
And I would make it, but this is not comedy hour, and that would be bad. And we'd have to cut it and start over because it'd be terrible. But so I've used a lot of different e-commerce platforms, from like the point click drag, like the Weebly's, Wix, BigCommerce, Woocommerce, Shopify. But I really think that right now, as it stands, it's becoming a bit of a duopoly between Shopify and Woocommerce. And for those that don't know, they're both wonderful platforms. And actually, Shopify just announced a partnership with Walmart this year to help expand its marketplace. So Shopify is more of a point-click drag builder tool, but I don't want to discredit it in any way. It's a fantastic CMS. What it allows people to do is, well, people like you and I that know enough coding to break our website, or knew some years ago, and definitely got more into the business side than the coding side of the industry. But people like us could still put together stores, if we wanted to do Kimmel's wonderful Christmas sweaters, which, by the way, nice sweater that you got on today. So if you wanted to sell those on the line and everybody could be as handsome, as fashionable as Jeff Kimmel, well, we could do that. We would probably want to get on and grab Shopify, because that would allow us to, with one of your many HD cameras and your Christmas presents, take really high quality photos, put them onto Shopify. Shopify is going to then be able to, allow us to ship it out, allow people to buy it, and it's point click drag. The other option is, a lot of people are already familiar with WordPress. So this is more of the advanced user, and they have plugins. Now, Shopify runs files called liquid files. That's what they're called in the background. Most people don't really care about that, but that's the files that the server runs. WordPress runs on PHP. So if you wanted to have a WordPress website, you can get something called the plugin. And the plugin that, in my opinion, is the best is Woocommerce. Woocommerce allows you to have the checkout experience on a WordPress website while still giving you a little bit of the functionality.
Okay, great. Thank you for that insight. Hey, we've come a long way since Meba Merchant. If you remember that back in the day.
Or Yahoo stores. Everything was a Yahoo store at one point.
Right. And if I'm understanding it correctly, as we move into this new world, it seems like, Shopify, you have to go in with the vision, I'm starting an e-commerce store, right? Whereas I think with WooCommerce, if you have your website and you have your WordPress website built and it's looking good, and you maybe not be selling anything on it, just using it for brand awareness or contact information. And then you're like, all right, now I'm going to start selling stuff. Now I can pull in the plugin and start putting products on my site. Is that correct?
Yes and no. I'm going to say that you're about 99%, because only Siths deal in absolutes, and I'm more of a Jedi. Okay. So you can build a website on Shopify without really connecting a store to it. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. You don't have to put checkout under the button. So True. you can have like a product feed. Like, let's say you wanted to just show that I don't know, maybe you sell custom stuff. So you wanted to just kind of show what you have, but rather than sell things, you wanted to do like a request to quote type thing, but you wanted to show some of your previous work. You could show the thumbnail images. Gotcha. But you could do that with any other click, point, and drag website. Mm-hmm. But one thing you did say, though, is let's say that you built, your business was a typical brick and mortar store. You had people coming in to get your stuff. Maybe, and Jeff, I'm going to give you a lot of different jobs and occupations and businesses in this podcast, but don't get any ideas, because I like you on the team and I don't want to change what we do. But maybe you own Kimmel's Pizza, And for years, people just lined up out the door. You know, around the corner, you had a great line. Jeff makes the best pizza, and Jeff's from Old Forge, so you know, some people will say that this is a possibility. So, but then the pandemic hit, right? And we have to socially distance. So your line around the door and around the corner would now, you know, with everybody having to be 6 feet apart, that's going to push people all the way down to Taylor. So, you know, people don't want to have to walk 6 miles to get their pizza. So instead, we could have taken this beautiful website that you had that was built in WordPress by the LSEO team, because they build the best WordPress websites. Well, now a guy like Brian Peters on our team can connect WooCommerce. And now this gives the ability for people to buy pizza right off of your old WordPress website without having to build a brand new website. We can just create a shop now button, or, you know, order here, or, you know, menu, or something along those terms. So again, I would say that you were about 99% sure, or percent right with what you were saying, but there are some instances where that can change.
Okay, great. You know, and I actually do make a excellent French bread pizza, handmade French bread. I make the dough, you know, I rise the dough myself. I buy it from, you know, I buy it in a little carton, and then I make the bread, but then I make French bread pizza. I might have to take you up on building me a store and have people come over and order it online, and I'll ship it to them.
All right. So wait a minute. Time out.
Okay.
Because I need to know more about the French bread pizza than Shopify WooCommerce. Audience, we'll get back to that, but I think we've piqued your attention here. So when did Jeff Kimmel start making French bread pizza?
I would say about 3 years ago.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if this went back to, like, you know, broke college days, you know, and you've been a culinary, you know, chef since then, and I just never knew this. And I'm thinking, wait, I know this guy for 15 years, and I don't know he's the French bread pizza man.
Right. No, so the story behind it is those Stouffer's, those frozen ones.
Uh-huh.
I liked those for a while, and my wife said, we should try making them on our own. So I said, okay. And she started it by taking the Pillsbury French bread, taking that out and making the bread, and then cutting it in half and making 2 halves. And then I took it to the next level and I put on banana peppers. You know, I put on the sauce, pizza sauce, banana peppers, pepper, red pepper flakes, and then I use a blended cheese of cheddar and mozzarella.
All right. This sounds culinary creations within the LSEO podcast. Listen up, folks. Don't be surprised if you're starting to get, I mean, because I do the advertising too, Jeff, so I can put this out, Facebook ads, Google ads, you know. We'll come up with a much catchier name than what's coming to mind now, but be on the lookout for, you know, Kimmel's French bread pizza.
Right. And there, you know what, if you search on YouTube, there might be a how-to video with me demonstrating it. I don't know. But anyway, enough about me and my bread. Let's get back to WooCommerce and Shopify. I'm still, you know, very interested in learning a lot more about that. So I understand the difference now, and the purpose and the benefits, I think, a little bit about it. But can you tell me a little bit more about some of the pros and the cons of, let's say, just WooCommerce? Let's start with WooCommerce.
Yeah. So I think the major pro with WooCommerce is it is built on WordPress. So that means that you can host it anywhere. So you can, and I did a podcast with Jonesy a couple of months back now, but about the different types of hosting, whether, you know, shared, dedicated, etc. But, you know, so anybody here can go back and relive that. But as far as the major pro for WooCommerce is the customization factor, because it is open source. It's on WordPress. It's just raw PHP files. So the biggest thing there is you can really make it do anything that your mind wants it to within the realm of what PHP allows. So I think that's the real positive there. But at the same time, you know, if you want to ask the pro, well, we'll also go to the con. The con is also that it's open source. It's somewhat advanced. A guy who opens up Kimmel's French bread pizza might be a pizza superstar, but he might not have the skills to necessarily build a WordPress site. So this is something you're typically going to want to have a professional do for you. And the other thing is there's a bit of a learning curve with it, but I would say the other major con is, while I said that a pro is it's open source and anybody can get it and download it for free, it's also a con because now we're reliant on developers keeping it updated and functioning correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we ran into that all the time with the number of updates, and once something doesn't update PHP and you're so far behind, and then certain plugins don't work. Oh, I get it, but I mean, it is great to have like open source platform and be able to modify it the way you want. I mean,
right.
It's just,
well, that and I mean, Woocommerce. So I kind of said the negative about all open source applications. Let me back up though and say, like, Woocommerce is a known application. It's going to be functioning. It's going to be updated the same way like the Yoast SEO plugin is going to be updated within WordPress. I mean, the guys over at Yoast could decide, hey, we don't want to do this any longer. But I mean, it's a whole business model. They're not going to do it.
Right. Yep. Makes sense. All right. So that makes sense for WooCommerce. How about Shopify? What are some of the pros and cons with Shopify?
Well, I would say the biggest pro to it is you get a domain name. And I could be wrong, but I think even now Shopify allows you to just get domain names there. So it can legitimately be a one-stop shop. If not, you can go over to GoDaddy, Network Solutions, Google, whatever. You buy a domain name, and then you go over to Shopify and you connect it through what's called DNS, but we won't go down that rabbit hole because I know you and I could talk that for a while.
Right.
But you don't need to know the pros here are you don't have to have any coding skills, none at all. If you've got pictures that you can upload, or if you can get pictures from stock photography on the internet, that's all you're going to need. Shopify comes with a bunch of different themes that you're able to choose from. Although a lot of people do like some certain customization. So there are also premium themes. Like people found that, hey, Shopify is great. But there's certain things, again, we talked about it's made in what are called liquid files. So you can get a premium theme to kind of do some of the things that maybe you weren't thinking of, or that the platform just doesn't have the ability to do natively. So people added almost like WordPress has a plugin, and you can get custom themes on WordPress. You can also get custom themes on Shopify. Now we wanted to talk about the positives. So one of the negatives then is going to be that the liquid file, and you don't have access to edit things on the server itself. So if you're running, and let's just say you have a big e-commerce store, maybe you're running WooCommerce through like AWS or DigitalOcean or some sort of dedicated hosting, you have the ability to go in there and change things right at the server level. Well, with Shopify, that's going to be, you don't have the ability to change their server because they're giving this platform to tons of people. The other thing is merchant fees and gateway fees and things like that. I mean, going back to back earlier in my career when, and I know you were there because you were in a room next to me. So thinking of like Monster Commerce and things like that, there was authorized.net, and I could think of all the different payment gateways. Well, now Shopify has its own payment gateway, but let's say for years you used Stripe or some other merchant, and it's just who you're comfortable with. If you don't use their payment gateway, you might get dinged twice. Like maybe you want to use PayPal, or for all the young folks out there, they want to move into Venmo. They don't like PayPal, even though it's the same thing. But that's, again, another story for another day. But you can get whacked on transaction fees twice. So, if you don't want to use them as your merchant, you can pay higher fees.
Gotcha. Yeah. You want to try and keep as much money as possible for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Makes sense. All right. And I'm excited to get my French bread pizza store up and running as soon as possible. It's 2021. I want to start making money here in the first quarter. How do I do that? Which way do I go to get that store up and running faster?
So that's a tough one, because I think faster depends on a lot of things. How many products do you have? What's your technical knowledge? I mean, Jeff, I know you're a pretty bright guy. I know that you'll pick it up quickly, but my grandmother probably wouldn't. So if all things are considered equal, so let's just say I have 50 products both places, and I'm building the store in both instances, I could probably build it faster in Shopify, because again, there's no coding that goes into it. I'm not going to have to hire a third-party web designer. It's going to be point, click, drag, and it's going to be exactly what I want. And then I can just, take some of the time to make it a little bit more pretty and make it, give it my feel and my brand. But I could probably whip together a really nice, well, I'd like to think really nice. I could whip together a mediocre Shopify website in probably about a month.
Okay.
If I were to do the same thing within WooCommerce, so first I'm going to have to sit down and I'm going to have to watch a bunch of YouTube videos just to get myself caught back up. And I'm probably going to have some of the guys and girls in the web dev team turning off their cell phone or sending me to just nope, because I'm going to call them and ask them a lot of questions. But after antagonizing all of my friends, my family, and watching all of the YouTube videos, I could probably put up, again, a mediocre website in probably about 6 to 8 weeks with WooCommerce. And then I'd have to, get it connected to the host and all of that stuff. So Shopify, definitely easier, all things considered, on skill level and product size.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. It does seem like Shopify will get you up there, get you running quicker. And there's so many other things to worry about with like the hosting and, like you said, finding the right host and making sure it's pointing to the right WordPress site, all that stuff behind it, where Shopify, just get in and go kind of thing.
Right.
Great. All right. Now, we work for a digital marketing company. And it's funny when you think back in the day, the places we've come from, and hosting and domain names and everything like that. And we used to say, like, you build this great site, you have this awesome domain name, but nobody knows you exist. Nobody knows how to find you, and that's where digital marketing comes into it. So. Right. When you have this great store, whichever way you built it, and now you need to be found online, and you need to start implementing your SEO strategy for your new store, whether it's WooCommerce or Shopify. Which one's better when you want to implement your SEO strategy?
Well, I think this is really splitting hairs, but I'm going to go edge to WooCommerce, because of all the things we talked about before, with it being a WordPress plugin and us having those customization options. The great thing there is, and I mentioned this plugin earlier, is we can put in the Yoast plugin, which is the most popular SEO plugin out there. So we're able to use SEO Yoast. And again, because we have access to some of the server side stuff, we really have true access over things like titles, descriptions, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's not to say that Shopify is not SEO friendly. As I started this conversation off with, it's a fantastic CMS. Shopify, you can typically run most of the titles, descriptions. You can do a lot of the technical SEO stuff. Where we ran into some issues were on certain themes. And again, this is some of the problems with buying premium themes, is certain premium themes are also open source, and the developer didn't necessarily code things out. So it might be, let's say that I had a health and beauty website. So I might have like a collection of different eyeliners, lipsticks, lip glosses. I mean, as you can see, I definitely wear all of that stuff. So I would put it on my website, but if it's not coded the right way, unfortunately, we can end up with like duplicate meta titles, meta descriptions, things like that. And Shopify works in more of like a tagging like categorization. And if it's not set up correctly on that particular theme, you can run into some pain in the neck problems. And then that's when it turns back into, well, man, this would have been a lot faster on Woocommerce. So that's why I said typically it's faster on Shopify, but you can run into a few snags. So I would say from an overall SEO standpoint, I'd give the slight edge to WooCommerce. But I'll tell all of our viewers, when I first started using Shopify, I want to say, I don't know, maybe 16, 18 months ago, one of the first things I hopped on, I was like, oh my goodness, I can do schema markup right in here. Like they built the schema right into their platform, which I thought was awesome, because that was one of the things as I grew further into my SEO career, really got fascinated with like structured data, schema markup, etc. So that's all built in there. So again, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful CMS, but I'll give the slight nod to WooCommerce due to the customization factors.
Okay, point for WooCommerce on that one. I was just going to ask about this.
Half a point. It's that close. Half a point.
Okay, half a point. All right, I'll adjust my score here.
Okay. Well, wasn't it the French judge who kind of screwed up the thing, and you're the French bread pizza? See, I'll tie it all together.
Right. It all comes full circle. Yeah, I was going to ask about schema markup, but I'm glad you covered that. I was curious about that. Okay. So, I think we have a good idea of, the two different platforms that we can use. We heard about the pros. We heard about the cons. We heard about, most importantly, not most importantly, but what wins for SEO. We know which one's going to get us to market faster, get our products online faster. And I don't know if everybody else was keeping score, but probably not, just me. So I'm going to ask you, putting all of that together, which one's the outright winner when you pin WooCommerce versus Shopify in WrestleMania 74?
Well, I'm going to change that though. And as a politician, I'm going to answer the question I want to answer rather than the question you asked. So what I'm going to say is the winner here is you. The winner is the user, because the thing is, there's no real clear-cut winner when it comes to which one is better. That's like asking what's better, in anything. So it comes down to what is going to be the better solution for you, the end user. If you're someone who needs to get this to market quickly, and you don't want to have the headaches or the customization that goes into something, or if you're somebody who really wants to customize things and wants to have a ton of products and wants to have all of the advanced features that WordPress offers, you can have both. And again, I say the winner is you, the consumer, because it doesn't matter what you choose. All you're going to do is dial the phone. Jeff Kimmel's going to answer and say, hey, thanks for calling LSEO. You've reached Jeff. How can I help you? And you're going to say, Jeff, I'm making French bread. Carl's French bread pizza is going to be the next big thing in 2021. And you're going to say, well, you're going to have some competition, but we'll be more than happy to help you. And we, LSEO, can build fantastic, great performing websites on either platform. So, I mean, if you twisted my arm or put me in the cross-faced chicken wing at WrestleMania 74, I'll probably go WooCommerce, but that's just so you let me out of it. And because I'm a Ric Flair type fan, and I would go WooCommerce. But anyway, so my real answer is the people. So I think the people win in this this battle royal of e-commerce platforms today. And there's going to be a lot of competition here, and competition always drives innovation. So I think both platforms are going to continue to perform well. And in 5 or 6 years, we'll be a little older, a little grayer. You'll still be handsome. I still won't be. But we'll be having this conversation, and we'll probably have a third name on here, and we'll be able to tell the folks out there what's really working then.
Right. And I think the important part that you pulled out there was, both great platforms. We understand them, and anybody can get started with them. But ultimately, what you really want to do is be focusing on your business, focus on making your French bread, and, getting out there and letting people know about it. Let somebody else worry about all of the, the Shopify, the Woocommerce, the SEO. Don't worry about that stuff. I mean, I think, a lot of people, when you start out, you want to do it all on your own. You want to, contain some costs there and start and dabbling and get it going. But I mean, in the end, once you start growing, it's time to outsource that kind of stuff and look for a reliable partner.
Well, right. I mean, at the same time, you don't make your own cheese. You buy the cheese, So while I know that as you said, your wife started off, you had the Pillsbury bread, and then you were like, I'm Jeff Kimmel, I can do better than that. You're starting to make your own bread. But you're not out churning the butter, you're not out milking the cows. So there are still some components that you need to rely on other partners to make sure that you put together the best damn French bread pizza. So in that case, our customers need to not worry about necessarily the website. Like, hey, give us all of your input, because at the end of the day, as we've always said, our customers' success is our success. But we're really the experts in building world-class SEO performing websites, and you can worry more about sourcing the best buffalo mozzarella or Vermont cheddar or whatever it is you want to put on your pizza, Roma tomatoes, and you can still though worry about little things. You can grow the basil in your garden, so you still have the your hand in the pot, and that's just what finding a great partner is all about. I don't think in all of the years that I've been working in the internet, one of the things that I'll say I'm most proud of is the team that we've put together really is just an extension of our clients' marketing and design teams, because I think that what sets us apart is we're just a great freaking partner.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, we haven't said his name, but the handsome Kyle Cozy is all about e-commerce. That's his best buyer. He loves to get in there and really help them improve their digital marketing strategy. So
yeah, I mean, he's got years of just growing the brands that you love and wear. Might even grown the brand of that beautiful sweatshirt that sweater you're wearing today that we referenced earlier.
Right. All right. Well, I think that does it for us today. I think we covered a lot. The only thing I don't think we covered here, Steve, was who we are and what we do. We jumped right into it. We're having so much fun. So I'm Jeff Kimmel. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
And I'm Steve Blackburn. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at LSEO.
So thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond Local. Hopefully we provided you with some useful educational information. Always check out our website, and more importantly, continue to tune in each and every week to Beyond Local, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.